Hey, I'm Dr. Sten Ekberg. I'm a chiropractor, and this video is about why I started my YouTube channel. I'm trained as a chiropractor, but I think that if you're honest and you keep asking questions and you keep evolving, then you're going to end up in places you didn't really anticipate necessarily. So what I have found with chiropractic is that chiropractic is really all about neurology and nutrition, because the brain controls everything and the brain needs signals and the brain needs nutrition. If it has all those things, then it can do a good job. I started out as an athlete. I was a decathlete in the NCAA, and then I competed for Sweden in the Olympics in 1992 and finished 9th. And at the time I thought I was really fit and really healthy, but turns out I wasn't so healthy, I was just fit. And later on in life I understood more about what health is after I'd gone through chiropractic school and had some personal experiences. So what I wanted to share with my patients was how not just to handle pain, not just to treat pain, because that's why everybody comes in, but I wanted them to understand, where is this thing coming from? What is it that isn't working in order for this problem to happen? And in doing that, I found myself explaining more and more, and it took hours and hours and hours. And the greatest reward that I have is when someone wants to know something to help themselves and finally they get it, when they have that aha moment and they really want to do something. They're concerned, they're interested, they're motivated, they just don't know what to do. And then when they have that aha moment, then that makes my day. But if I'm going to spend hours with every patient, then I can only see so many. I mean, I'm very limited. I don't want to see dozens of people. I want to see thousands of people. There are billions of people on the planet, and so just to try to help dozens is sort of puny. I needed a way to leverage myself. The other problem is when you talk to people and explain things, they can only remember so much. So with the YouTube channel, I wanted to create an archive, a library for my patients that they could go in and watch. So whenever I had a seminar, I would record it and post it. And then over time, I realized that they would ask me, well, do you have a doctor that does what you do in Kentucky or California or New York State or something? And honestly, I don't really know of anyone that does what I do. Chiropractic traditionally talks about how the triad of health, where the body has an emotional aspect, it has a chemical aspect, and it has a structural aspect. And holism is when you address all of those. And I have never found anyone that actually talk about all of it. There's people who in self-help who talk about motivational stuff and psychological stuff, and then there's athletes who talk about the structural and how to exercise, and chiropractors talk about the structural, and then there's people who talk about detox and they talk about nutrition. But no one ever put it together in a way. And I had to go out and find that information for myself. And my strength is, I think, my ability to combine these concepts into one whole picture that makes sense to people. And how the body is emotional, chemical, and structural, but how all that triad of health rests on the principles and the knowledge of neurology and nutrition. So I've never found anybody who doesn't want to be healthy. And most people who don't take the steps to being healthy, the people who act by default, they just don't understand what's involved. They don't understand what's at stake. I tell people the world has changed more in the last 50 years than it has in the previous 50,000. And because the world has changed so much, we have to start understanding how it affects us. How does it impact our health? Because if we just live by default, then we will suffer needlessly. And we see the things that used to happen to people in their 60s and 70s. Now these degenerative conditions are happening in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. and it's because the world has changed. So health is not one of those things that we have the luxury of thinking about when something goes wrong. By then, it's too late. So that's the purpose of my channel. That's why I became a creator. My greatest passion is to get that aha moment. The best comment that I can get on one of my videos is when people say, "That was so awesome. I've never heard it explained like that before. I get it." That really juices me. That makes me going. So my strength, like I said, is to combine these concepts. I don't know anyone else that has done that. So that is my purpose, to get that message and that idea out there to help people understand what health is, how important it is, so that we can start saving lives, not just dozens face to face, but tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions. Thanks for watching.